What the? Oh, this is a no-brainer. Woohoo! Don't! 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 Don't!
Welcome to our case study presentation of Hasbro Interactive. Hasbro Interactive was formed in 1995 as a subsidiary of Hasbro Incorporated. The company was founded in order to compete within the rising interactive gaming market. Initially, the company grew substantially, resulting in large financial successes. Following the purchase of two large and market-significant companies, Microprose and Avalon Hill, the company's financial situation improved further, resulting in revenue of $196 million and profit of $23 million at the end of the 1998 financial year. In just 3 years, Hasbro Interactive became the third largest global video game publisher. In 1999, however, the company recorded significant losses and was required to shut down several studios across the country. In 2000, the dot-com bubble had officially burst and the share price subsequently dropped 70% of its value in just over a year. Faced with financial uncertainty, Hasbro sold off 100% of Hasbro Interactive to the French software company Infogrames. We have identified multiple factors leading to the downfall of the organisation. These factors include the difference in personality between the key figures in the company, poor risk management, innovation and conflict issues, and poor communication and motivation. Our presentation will conclude with our suggested recommendations for Hasbro Interactive.
Within the management of Hasbro Interactive, personality differences between key figures can be attributed to the failure of the company. Tom Dusenberry. Dusenberry displays a high level of emotional intelligence, however his weakness includes his lack of self-evaluation. He excels in relationship management with an ability to arouse a follower mentality among his colleagues through his ambitious personality and strong drive to succeed. Social influence is a key driver of intra-individual processes. During Hasbro Interactive's revenue boom, he had a high level of social influence and conscientiousness, inciting compliance and a willingness to follow from his subordinates. Dusenberry's strong belief that the trend of interactive gaming was the future was initially supported by profitability, which cemented his rightful leadership of Hasbro Interactive. However, through Hasbro Interactive's decline, Dusenberry's level of conscientiousness became clouded as he was consumed with ambition and a sense of denial, leading to poor decision-making, lack of self-discipline, and an unsystematic approach to problem-solving. Alan Hasselfield inherited his family's position as chairman of Hasbro Interactive and was responsible for the promotion of Tom Dusenberry to the head of Hasbro's Interactive. Hasbro's visions via Alan Hasselfield and Dusenberry provided a high level of person-organization fit, due to a high level of congruence between Hasselfield and Dusenberry's work-related values. There was a high level of person-environment fit, allowing Dusenberry to use his charm and visionary experience to lead, which also extends to person-job fit, as he had a high level of expertise in the area of virtual reality and interactive gaming. Hasselfield's behavioural traits is one of a passive mindset, trust, and agreeableness, a key factor in the Big Five model. He is influenced by Dusenberry and charmed by his ambition and common views of interactive gaming as the way of the future. Being invested in Hasbro since birth due to inheritance, Hasselfield's openness to experience and ideas is high. His curiosity and imaginative mindset pushes him to make his own mark on the company and to ensure its culture and health remains high in an ever-changing technology boom. Jackie Dare became the CFO in mid-1999 when the company had begun to show some financial weaknesses. She implementing more exacting financial systems. However, these changes were not welcomed at Hasbro Interactive, where its employees took umbrage to anything that could be perceived to dampen innovation and creativity. Dyer is poised, resilient, and secure, demonstrating a high level of emotional stability, systematic organization, careful with a high level of conscientiousness. Finally, we will examine Al Verrecchia, who was a senior executive with the organization and preceded Dyer as CFO and succeeded Dusenberry as CEO. Verrecchia was essentially responsible for the turnaround of the organization. His ideas were conservative and rational in contrast to the ideas championed by Dusenberry. In examining the situational strength theory, we can see that the financial constraints and clarity of past successes placed on Verrecchia allowed him to formulate a systematic restoration plan for the company. The theory of Melbourne team roles provides further insight into the traits of the leaders of Hasbro Interactive. Dusenberry and Hassenfeld share common roles, being plans, generators of ideas, coordinators, task delegators, and shapers, the type to pursue objectives with vigour and the need to achieve. The lack of diversified team roles, for example, no monitor evaluators detaching themselves from bias, and no finishers with a strong sense and need for accuracy, are a contributing factor to why Hasbro Interactive's financial demise was initially overlooked. It wasn't until rational critical thinkers such as Day and Varechia became involved until this was turned around.
We will now discuss risk management. Extroverted behaviour is more charismatic, however it alludes to more impulsive and risky decisions. Mr. Dusenberry found himself frequently in front of Wall Street analysts, touting the potential of Hasbro Interactive. Revenues more than doubled in 1997, from 35 to 86 million. Dusenberry's charm and strong belief initially raised no concerns with investors. The organisational structure of Hasbro Interactive was ineffective in its top-down, ambiguous structure, which was detrimental to the sustainability of the organisation and the stability of its employees. Hasbro Interactive focused on short-term gains rather than constructing a long-term plan. Varechia mentioned that in order to create a growth plan, it is important to set expectations regarding tolerable losses in early years. We argue that setting an unrealistic 3-year, $1 billion revenue goal was a risky ambition that was counterproductive for the performance of the employees and sustainability of the organisation. Seemingly plausible at the height of the dot-com boom, the figure ultimately proved to be significantly detrimental to the well-being of the employees, creating high stress levels and insecurity, as well as high levels of mistrust between the management of Hasbro Interactive and their parent company, resulting in a loss of confidence. We determined that overconfidence was prevalent within management. There was such a positive atmosphere within the upper echelon of management at Hasbro Interactive due to the high stock prices and their position as innovators and market leaders that it brought along with it an overconfidence bias. Similar to overconfidence, the confirmation bias further compounded Hasbro Interactive's issues. The top managers automatically sought out information that supported their ideas and they rejected ideas that were contrary. Furthermore, when issues arose concerning their decisions, they simply ignored them.
This calls for an aggressive trading strategy.
Good idea, sir.
Dusenberry was not all that concerned about financial information, putting emphasis on innovation with the assumption that the financials would improve over time. When Jackie Daya became CFO, she quickly identified issues with Hasbro Interactive's financial security and implemented new systems to help reduce their losses. However, this information was not welcomed by other executive staff. Debates between divisions about the spending of funds led to a hostile working environment. Differing branding approaches, the conservative one adopted by Al Varechia through the expansion of well-established core products, and the aggressive approach championed by Dusenberry through the creation of new brand initiatives requiring more risky investments. This led to Dusenberry eventually leaving the organisation due to conflict of interest. Varechia maintained the experience of playing Monopoly at home compared to that of playing online is vastly different.
Why don't we play Monopoly?
Which version? We've got Star Wars Monopoly, Rasta Monopoly, Gallipolopoly, Edna Krabopoly.
Let's stick to original Monopoly. The game is crazy enough as it is.
Miscommunication in Hasbro arose from Dusenberry, who put it on himself to make all operation decisions for the company, such as those relating to organisational structure, product selection, and partnership agreements. This stemmed an elitist hierarchy, where they believed they were above the board of directors in making decisions. Even after exiting the company, Dusenberry quotes, "Hasbro Interactive is really two stories. It is the story of an independent company, therefore still fundamentally believing that Hasbro Interactive was operating as a sole entity. Hasbro Interactive adopted a separate reporting structure to their parent company, creating a separation of flow of information between Hasbro Incorporated and Hasbro Interactive. Transparency is the key to successfully running an organization. An unblocked and clear path of communication is required to enable sharing and collaborativity and making top-down information immediately actionable. Due to rapid expansion through mergers and the invention of original content, job roles weren't specified, as Hasbro is known for its licensing ability and is inexperienced in creating original interactive games. Due to the fact that there was no oversight by Hasbro over Hasbro Interactive, conflicts arose, such as when Hasbro Interactive initiated a marketing promotion with Burger King during the time in which Hasbro Incorporated had an ongoing promotional deal with McDonald's. The initial momentum of Hasbro Interactive could relate to the trait activation theory. This innovative environment of exponential growth brought out a higher level of social skills from Dusenberry, which in turn initially brought out a high level of trust between Dusenberry and stakeholders of Hasbro Interactive. George's theory on the dissolution of trust discussed how trust is strongly aligned with personal values, and how a change in values can directly infer a change in trust. As the relationship between Hassenfeld and Dusenberry becomes fractured, There is a rapid change with Hasselfield's values, now questioning Dusenberry, who's stuck in a state of denial and reluctance for action in the leadership of Hasbro Interactive. It is this unrest amongst the stakeholders of Hasbro Interactive that casts a shadow over the motivation within the brand.
Oh dear.
Motivation issue. The masculine and individualistic corporate culture of Hasbro Interactive gives us an insight into the destructive power of controlled motivation. Dusenberry's generous remuneration bonuses aim to stimulate desired behaviour among employees. What the focus on financial gain did, however, was cause a misalignment of employee motivations towards extrinsic reward and Wall Street greed. This in turn created a high employee turnover and individualistic mentality of unwanted competitiveness for reward. McClellan's need theory for job motivation provides a strong model of support for Dusenberry's actions. His needs for achievement means he wants to win at any cost with the payoff of avoiding responsibility. To a degree, Dusenberry also demonstrates a need for power. Expectancy theory. People are motivated to perform in work activities that they find attractive and they feel that they can accomplish. Dusenberry's charm and visionary leadership instilled a culture within Hasbro Interactive that they were on the forefront of the dot-com industry, soon to be market leaders and innovators of the online market. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Formulating intrinsic motivations for employees and changing Hasbro's past reliance on monetary compensation structure is imperative for future success. According to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, esteem, respect, belonging, and self-actualization within an organization are pivotal to nurturing an effective and loyal employee. To reduce staff turnover, these incentives need to be addressed into the culture of Hasbro from the bottom up. Multiple communication channels and the cultivation of an inclusive working community would likely lead to a more motivated employee base.
We will now establish recommendations for Hasbro Interactive. Our recommendations are stronger diversification of Melbourne team roles at executive level positions, more accurate goal setting, the formulation of strong company vision and mission statements, and reduction of the power distance index, establishing of key intrinsic motivators, and a progressive movement towards a more modernized, flattened organization. Hasbro requires more accurate goal setting from the top of the organizational hierarchy with managerial accountability, which will help Hasbro Interactive achieve more specific, attainable aims. Peter Ducker says, effective organizational governance requires a strongly independent and diverse board of directors that set a moral example for the entire organization. Hofstede's theory on power distance was felt at Hasbro, with Dusenberry in the later stages of his career creating a strong wedge between himself and his subordinates, provoking mistrust. A reduction of power distance index would reformulate creativity and trust within the Hasbro Interactive culture and boost employee morale. Company value. Many top Fortune 500 companies such as Apple and Tesla state that inclusion inspires motivation. A workplace of vibrant personality and diversity is a great model on how there is strong synergy one Hasbro should aim to replicate. A key to their success is the alignment of mission and vision statements throughout all tiers of the organization. This addresses the issue of miscommunication. Shine's 3 Cultures of Management theory states that a key theme in the culture of engineering is a preoccupation with designing humans out of systems rather than into them. Instead of previously molding a predetermined system for success, Hasbro's future endeavors should aim on utilizing its diverse human resources.
See, the problem's communication. Too much communication.